See what I mean about all these dogs? Just ridiculous. Like every 200 meters along this trail here, more dogs. There's two more up ahead. They're probably a bit too far away to see right now. They're always on the road, like always. I don't know what the owners are thinking. I mean, this road, it used to be, you know, a very popular place for cyclists. But they all just sort of stopped coming this way. And I can hardly blame them. It's just full of dogs. I mean, there's just about everything you get along this road. So you get dogs, cats, geese, cows, goats, chickens, you name it, it's all along here. More dogs. Another dog. And then just up here you get very young kids on their little tricycles and stuff, you know, just on the road here. I mean, yeah, there's not much traffic at all, but I think most of the reason that there isn't a lot of traffic on this road is because of all the dogs on the road. You know, it's like everybody's backyard. I mean, to be fair, you know, I mean, it used to be that was always what roads were looked upon as being, you know, a long time ago. So when I first came over, you know, this would have all been dirt track, and you know, the sort of village would see it as belonging to them. There we go. That's what I mean. Backyard. That's sort of an extension of their backyard, I guess. You know, the villagers look upon this area as being part of their community, you know, belongs to their community. And so they treat it as such. You know, change takes time. And, you know, you've basically got to mold a new mindset for people regarding roads. And, you know, that takes a long time, so it's not going to happen overnight, you know. There's no point in trying to kid yourself that it will. So it's all about just getting used to it. And it's so hard, I'll tell you. Like the other day when I had that meltdown, I mean, you know, it's probably a combination of different factors, but the result was a meltdown where I just sort of lost it. And I started cussing and blinding at other road users who were carving me up and cutting me off, and yeah, that's not really good. You know, to the extent I sort of got home and thought behind me, well, you know, am I sure I can sort of stay here any longer, you know? So yeah, I mean, that sort of question is always in the back of my mind. You know, when you're younger, you sort of adapt very quickly and very easily. But I think the older you get, the more stuck in your ways you become. And, you know, sort of being in an environment of familiarity, I think is quite important as you get older. You know, I had this thought or idea to set up a retirement home over here for Western seniors to come over. You know, like pretty much every level of care. So starting with, you know, just someone coming around few times a day just to make sure everyone's okay, and then, you know, a bit more care, so coming around and, you know, supplying meals and things like that, making sure the residents are taking their medications and things like that, and, you know, just sort of stepping up the amount of care until, you know, the sort of full-time care. And that would have to be in a sort of central area where all of the residents are accommodated, and the staff are all sort of, you know, busy taking care of all the residents in there. And I thought, you know, that might work well here, because you could put something like that right on the beach and it would just be a beautiful place. But then I thought to myself, you know, is that what old people really want? And I really don't think it is, because they want something that's familiar, you know, a familiar environment. And that wouldn't be. It would just be so completely foreign. You know, the food, the language, the whole works, it would just be completely foreign. And I'm really not sure that's what older people want. Yeah, we like to sort of kid ourselves, I'm sure, that you know, we'd love to retire on a beach somewhere and sip margaritas, and, you know, this sort of holiday image comes into our minds and we get caught up in that. But in actual fact, if you tried to live like that, it would become very boring very quickly. Well, I'm like Jeffsy today. You know what I really want to do with this camera setup now is turn on my GoPro, like, you know, turn on the power button. What I normally do is just press the record button, and it just records without, you know, it connecting to my phone and all that. But I think what I ought to do, because a lot of the footage I've taken so far with this setup, you know, on this tripod stuffed down my shirt, I had to dump it. I couldn't use it at all because of my angle, like the camera angle. You know, when I'm riding along, like now, you know, I'm sort of sitting up straight, but when I'm on the sort of rougher terrain, I sort of crouch a bit lower. You know, my arms fold a bit lower, so I go down to this sort of level, and you can't see the horizon at all. You know, you just sort of see my cockpit and front wheel, and that's kind of it. So that's really not good. I had to I just couldn't use that footage. So it's a bit of a shame. So yeah, if I connected it to my phone, at least I could pull out my phone and check to see the angle. That's what I need to do. In fact, I'm going to do it now. Well, I think we were recording. I think we are. Those geese just then didn't look too happy. They're not very friendly yet. And that guy had absolutely no idea I was there. Yeah, another observation, spatial awareness. It's not really... Oh, a squirrel just fell out the tree. That's not something you see every day. Yeah, spatial awareness. It's not, as we would know it, it's sort of not really very existent at all, I don't think. You know, just being aware of your surroundings. Yeah, certainly not on the roads. You know, people are just not aware at all. You know, it's a mindset of, you know, I'm doing my thing, you do yours. I heard a lady who, I don't know if she still rides motorbikes all around the world, but she certainly did at the time. That was a very nice van driver. Yeah, so this lady who rides around the world on a motorbike, like adventure motorbike, she once said, you know, because she rides in lots of countries where driving skills are not great, and she said once, just don't hit anyone. You know, that's the rule she uses when she's on the roads in, you know, all sorts of these, especially Latin American countries, South American countries, where she finds it quite dangerous. So obviously she hasn't ridden in Thailand before, because Thailand really is number one. Well, I mean, it's actually not. Libya apparently has, there's, you know, lots and lots of different statistical data available when you look it up on the internet, but Thailand has remained quite consistently at number 2 with the most dangerous roads in the world. And you know, the general consensus of the data is that Libya is number 1, and the way they measure it is by deaths per 100,000 people in the population over the space of 1 year. And the difference is 1 person. So I think Libya was 45. So 45 deaths out of every 100,000 people in the population per year. And Thailand was 44. So yeah, that's a difference of 1 person. Now that statistic was in the Bangkok Post in the last year. They published it in the Bangkok Post, which is the local newspaper, and the Prime Minister got quite upset, and he said this data is out of date. He said it was something like 2006 data. Well, yeah, okay, but where's the latest data? There isn't any. They're not keeping records of things like that. They'd rather just brush it under the carpet. So, if anything, you know, I mean, it could well have overtaken Libya by now. Yeah, this sort of ostrich thing, bury your head in the sand and these problems will go away. I mean, you know, that sort of paints a pretty negative picture. I'm sure it's not entirely true. You know, their philosophy, their aim of life is so different from ours. They want to be happy. Happiness is very important. And, you know, sort of worrying about all these little things, well, no, that's not really a little thing, but, you know, it's quite a substantial thing as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, worrying about them too much is counterproductive to what the end result they want. They want to be happy. So, you know, who are we to judge? You know, that we don't really want to be ethnocentric and start judging everybody else by our standards. That's just not the right thing to do. So yeah, I guess, you know, at the end of the day, it's my choice to live here. I don't have to live here. Nobody is forcing me to. I mean, obviously, you know, I've got family over here and everything, so that sort of makes the prospect of moving not so easy.